Open your phone, scroll for 10 seconds, you'll see it. Arguments that aren't really arguments, debates that aren't really debates, people yelling into the void, flexing on ghosts. Somewhere between Socrates' barefoot strolls through Athens and TikTok beefs over who's canceled today, we lost the plot. And the wild part, it wasn't random, it was engineered. Welcome to the death of dialogue, the slow collapse of civilization's nervous system. And today, we're pulling back the sheet. Dialogue is more than talk, more than opinion. It's how societies think out loud, how ideas fight and fuse and evolve. When dialogue is strong, truth sharpens, justice strengthens, science flourishes, culture matures. When dialogue is weak, truth fractures, justice cracks, science stalls, culture freezes, or worse, it rots. And when dialogue dies, civilization follows. Not immediately, not dramatically, but slow, silent, sure, like rot in the beams of a house you still think looks fine. And by the time it falls, it's already too late. Discourse is the immune system of a free society. When it fails, infection spreads through media, through politics, through education, through everyday life. Until reason isn't just weakened, it's weaponized. Go back 2,400 years. Athens. Socrates didn't make speeches, he asked questions. What is justice? What is courage? What makes a good life? He didn't claim to know, he claimed not to know. That was the power. He put the proud, politicians, generals, poets on the spot, pulled on the threads of their certainty until the whole thing unraveled. He left people not with answers, but with better questions. Questions that hurt, questions that healed. Athens thrived on debate, until someone pointed out the emperor had no clothes. Socrates made enemies, big ones. In 399 BCE, they put him on trial. Charged him with corrupting the youth, charged him with impiety, found him guilty, sentenced him to death. He drank the hemlock, smiling, because he believed that death was better than living a lie, but his students lived. Plato, Xenophon, later Aristotle. The seed Socrates planted, humble inquiry, took root and grew. Fast forward to the Enlightenment. Paris salons, Venetian coffee houses, London pubs, writers, philosophers, scientists crowding into smoky rooms, arguing politics, morality, physics, freedom, not to own each other, not to dunk on clout, but to figure it out. Together, messy, chaotic, beautiful. From that chaos, new worlds were born, constitutions, revolutions, rights, science, all because people were willing to risk being wrong, to risk being changed. Dialogue wasn't safe, it was sacred. Then the mediums changed, and with them, the message. First the printing press, good. It democratized ideas, then radio, then TV, and that's where the fracture lines began. Because now, you weren't in a circle of equals anymore. You were an audience, watching, consuming. TV compressed everything. Complex debates into 2-minute segments, speeches into sound bites, candidates into image managers. The Kennedy-Nixon debate in 1960 showed the fracture crystal clear. Radio listeners thought Nixon won. TV viewers thought Kennedy crushed it, not because of logic, not because of ideas, because Kennedy looked smoother, cooler. TV rewarded appearance over argument, performance over substance. And we adapted, not deeper, not smarter, shallower, faster, and after decades of conditioning, debate itself became just another form of entertainment. The point wasn't persuasion, it was domination. Fast forward again, now we got social media. And if TV compressed dialogue into sound bites, social media liquefied it into pure dopamine. Algorithms don't reward careful thought, they reward emotion, outrage, loyalty to tribe. Nuance doesn't trend, complexity doesn't trend. But anger, fear, mockery, that's free engagement. The business model isn't discourse, it's dopamine. We're not citizens, we're users. And we're not using social media. Social media is using us. You're not arguing to understand, you're arguing to signal, show the tribe you belong, dunk on the other side, rack up the likes. The more tribal you get, the more the algorithm feeds you. Until you're locked inside a reality of your own making, but one someone else profits from. And inside that bubble, facts aren't facts. Arguments aren't arguments, they're just signals, weapons, proof you're good, proof they're evil. Brexit. Millions of Brits logged into Facebook, and what they saw depended entirely on their feed. Some saw posts warning of economic collapse, others saw posts promising a nationalist rebirth. Different facts, different realities, same country, same election. No wonder they couldn't talk to each other. They weren't even living in the same informational universe. That's not democracy, that's chaos dressed up in hashtags. The same thing happened with the 2016 US election. The same thing happens every day now. You're not arguing across a table anymore, you're yelling across a canyon. When dialogue dies, disagreement doesn't end, it gets weaponized. People don't argue policy anymore, they argue existence. You're not wrong, you're evil. They're not misinformed, they're demons. There's no middle, no compromise, no common ground. And without common ground, you can't build anything, you can only burn. Democracy rots from the inside out. Justice becomes tribal revenge. Education becomes ideological training. And civilization, it forgets how to be a civilization at all. We're not here to complain, we're here to investigate. How did we get here? Where did discourse first break? How did power, religion, media, and technology twist it? When did we stop asking and start screaming? And most important, how do we rebuild it? Because collapse isn't destiny. Collapse is a crossroads. We can double down on noise, or we can relearn how to speak. Not just to shout, not just to win, but to understand. Because civilization only survives when conversation does. Next time we rewind all the way back to the original troublemaker, the barefoot philosopher, the question asker, the man who annoyed Athens so bad they killed him, Socrates, the first man canceled for trying to find the truth. See you then.